Okay, YouTube folks, I am going to show you a sawmill that you probably haven't seen before. I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube about sawing logs with a chainsaw. I do have an Alaskan mill which I've used, and I've had this mill for I'd say 35-40 years now, but I haven't used it much in the last 15 years, and I just resurrected it and got it cleaned up, and I'm going to use it again and show you what it does. It's pretty clever. It was made by a guy in Maine, and I bought it off of another friend who bought it. So here's the basic idea. We have a bottom rail. I put the wheels on it so I could drag it around. Then we have two uprights, upright there and an upright over there. And it's somewhat similar to a lathe, because as you can see down here, there's a point, and there's another one over there. And these are just threaded rods that you tap into the end of your log. You roll your log up into this carriage, and then you set those in it, and then you use this mechanism here to just crank it up. It cranks up by winding a wire around this shaft, which pulls up the point, and you get those up to where it's in a cutting position. And then you dog your log. I gotta set something down here. You dog the log with this, which is kind of a clever, everything he did on this is pretty clever. This is just a sliding mechanism. It just jams in there. You can move it around, take it off. And try to do this one-handed. I should get a, that just slides along there. This slides up and down here. That slides along. This slides up. Oh, it's frozen. No, there it is. This slides up and down here. Got a nice little tooth that you just drive into your log on the side. And this just sets in here by it just has a groove on the end. You put the groove in over there. Put it in here. And then you just dog your log in there. Then your saw mounts like a pretty typical manner in this carriage. I'm going to show you a little picture of the, that's what it's called. Okay, and this just slides up and down the carriage. Once your log is there, you're always working at a very comfortable height on this. I stand right here. I hold the saw with that hand, with my left hand. I just had to take my glove off. Okay, so here's the carriage. This slides back and forth. And then you crank it up on top. You have a crank here which cranks this side, and a crank, and you crank those in unison. You can make clapboards if you want to tip it each way. But once you get your log mounted between the two center points, you crank it up. I'll demonstrate that. You just crank it up there. Oh, I can't demonstrate it because you need two hands. I need to undo that lock thing. Then you just crank it up. Oh, it comes up. That's right. Okay, it comes up. And that just, the cables just wrap around there and bring that whole mechanism up. This end has a collar on it because you need 3 or 4 inches to start your saw. And that's pretty much it. This slides back and forth. Everything's cold. It's about 20 degrees. Yesterday I was running this and it was nice and loose. Everything was nice, but it's down about 20 degrees. And so that rides along the side of the log. And there is a bearing right under here, which rides along the side of the log. And the saw pretty much pulls itself into the log. There's a picture of this mounting mechanism. It's kind of clever. He doesn't have it mounted on a flat, but he has 2 small little circles in there which mount it. I have a 24-inch bar on it right now. I could probably run a 28. Yeah, about 28 is as big as it goes. It's called the rite. I just have this slides. I have a butcher's wax on here to make it slide along a little easier. And if you really need to take this apart, this top rail here comes all the way off. It just has a couple bolts. And there is a truss rod in the middle of it right here, which you could tighten if you get it to make it straight, if you get a dip in it. I've never had to mess with that. But it goes through that hole, down through the center. It acts like a truss. So you could actually, you could carry, this is too heavy to really carry, but 2 guys can carry this top rail. Then you could just take these bottom pieces in, and then 2 guys could carry that. But I actually have put the wheels on there, so I just drag it around with my tractor or my bulldozer. Okay, so this is basically it. What I'm going to do is I need to spread. As you can see, I have it set up right now for about 8-foot logs. And you can see I have another 5 feet here. You could do 12 foot 3 on this is what I could cut on this. And I'm going to call that it for right now. And I might edit this into some other stuff. Oh yeah, another thing I can show you. As this carriage, or this end center point, that whole thing slides along the bottom rail. And right here is then you clamp it in place with this little, just a piece of rolled iron, threaded. And that clamps it in. So that whole upright will slide down, and I'm going to do that now off camera. I don't have a tripod set up today. And I'm going to roll one of my logs in and center it up, and maybe I'll show you a cut. But that's pretty much it. These just work kind of cranking your tip there. And that centers. If you have a rotten log, it doesn't work well because that center will drift in your log. You have to have pretty good logs. And I'm gonna tackle one of those logs over there. But isn't it a beautiful day? It's down in the woods today. It's about 22 degrees. I have trees. I have so much lumber to cut that I'll be doing this the rest of my life. But I hope I can do something a little more productive with my life. But this is a way to be productive and a good way to get outside. All right, I'll get back to you later on this. A little bit about my saw here. This is actually a John Sered. I think it's a 2065. It's a 1999. But I actually Husqvarna 365 parts interchanged pretty good on it. And I'm running just a regular chain, but I have it filed pretty flat, not 0 degrees, maybe 10 degrees. And that's pretty much it. This saw is worn out. Otherwise, the carriage is broken, the chain brake is broken. So this is a good, safe place to use it, because I don't need those features with the mill here. Another strange thing about doing videos in the woods by yourself is that you're down in the middle of the woods talking and there's nobody around to listen. If anybody walked up on me, they would scare the living daylights out of me, and I'm like a fool on here. But hopefully you're all watching this and this will be informative by the time it gets done. I'm going to slide that back in. See, that slides. It's a little stiff because the butcher wax I had on there. I should put silicone as opposed to butcher's wax. You want to stay away from oil-based things, because if you put like oil on there, it'll build up the sap and stuff. So you want to stay away from oil. All right, that's it. Too long probably, but I'm going to edit this down and put stuff in there. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Another beautiful day down in the Maine woods. I have a log in here that I've already 3-sided. I'll show you. I've got it 3-sided. Now I got to flip it one more time and just spin it, and then I'll take the top off, and then I'm going to be cutting boards out of this one. It's not a very good log, and it's kind of punky, so I'm going to just make some 1-inch boards to use for rough siding. I had to I got waylaid yesterday. It was too cold out to work, so I made this little attachment right here that I bolted on here, and I can put a ladder between these two and those two down there, and I could put oddball, unusual pieces of wood on there that I need to split in half, because the way this rig works, you really can't split it in half because the pin goes in the middle right there. So okay, I'm gonna warm my saw up. I can show you the little dogging mechanism. That's the dog. Actually, I don't have that right. Should be straight up and down, not on an angle, but it worked for this one. And I'm gonna spin that one more time, and then maybe I'll show you a little cutting.